Can you say the word blackbird 5 times really fast?
Blackbird 5 times really fast.
Now, give it a go for real, though. Come on.
Okay. I love these things. Blackbird, 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 blackbird. How many times?
That's actually not too bad. 5 times. So, okay. Say toy boat.
Oh, no, I can't
5
do
times.
that.
Do it twice. Can you say toy boat twice properly?
I do this with my kids all the time, and I end up saying tobbit.
Okay.
Or something like
Say
that.
toy boat.
Toy boat, toy boat, toy boat, tobbit, tubit, tubit, tibbit, tibbits.
Okay.
I can't do it.
What about one smart man, he felt smart, 2 smart men, they felt smart, 3 smart men, they felt smart, they all felt smart together.
I've got you here, Tim, because I can do this. I've been teaching my kids this, and I've got it. 1 smart man, he felt smart. 2 smart men, they felt smart. 3 smart men, they all felt smart. They all felt smart together. I can recite that like it's nothing, but let me tell you, it's very difficult.
Let me tell you.
Yeah, let me tell you. Right, let me tell you, 1 smart man, mate, he felt smart. 2 smart men, they felt smart. 3 smart men, they all felt smart, mate. They all smelt fart together, mate. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Welcome to Onboard for Delivery.
Alrighty, what have we got here? Got the script, Paul, for the episode. What have we got here? What's it say? Razor cheating? Heater? The Bachelor. The Bachelor. Paul, we picked it.
We did. Well, this is a spoiler-free zone, but we did.
We did.
What did you think of the... I did pick it, but I did think for a second that it was going to be a bit of a honey badger or something where I didn't quite know, but I did have an inkling.
Yeah, I heard a rumor that the winner rejects him. So I don't know where I heard that, and then I'm like, okay, I was waiting for it. I was sure Bella was going to win.
Yeah.
And but we picked it in episode, I reckon it was episode 3. I reckon it was.
Yeah. You could be right. Yeah.
And I know that our avid listeners out there, our super fans, like
TJ,
David Belleville, shout out to Belleville. I'm sure he would have picked up on that we picked up on the Bachelor winner back in episode 3, which was Irina, and we said that Bella would be heartbroken, unfortunately, and that's what ended up happening.
I think it was a bit of a dog's act, though. Do you think, like, I think it's actually the first ever series that I can remember where the Bachelor actually said, I love you, or something along those lines to more than one woman. Usually he saves that for the one that he picks.
No, Paul, he didn't say I love you, okay?
Okay, here we go.
I analysed the footage, okay? To the first girl, he said, I've fallen in love with you. And to the second girl, he said, I'm falling in love with you. So that lets him off the hook. He clearly said, I'm falling, which means he's not quite in love just yet. If those avid watchers would have picked that up, Paul.
Well, the connoisseurs, Tim, of true love would say that if you're in love with someone, how could you be falling in love with someone else?
Well, I wouldn't come to me, Paul, for any kind of love relationship advice, because after all, this is a tech podcast.
That's true.
And I'm sure our listeners haven't come here to listen to me to give them advice on women or men. Men or women, because we are gender neutral, if you know what I mean. And
speaking of genders, Tim, I was thinking about this while you were talking, and I'm wondering, this is off topic for a second, but I've been thinking about it all day, and I would like to know the answer to this question. If you were in a fight, would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or 1 horse-sized duck?
Well, I'll answer that question in a minute, Paul, but the last fight that I won was by about 200 meters. So I wouldn't come to me asking for any sort of fighting advice. But in terms of whether a horse-sized duck...
100
or
duck-sized horses or 1 horse-sized duck?
I reckon I'd go for 100 of them. Gee, that's quite a few. You can just get the cricket bat and just start swiping, but some of them are going to nip you, aren't they? So, if you know what I mean. So, I reckon, do you go the one big duck could bite your head off. I'd go for the small ones, Paul.
Yeah. No, I think so too. I would go the 100 duck-sized horses, I think. And horses by nature are not, like you go to the park, ducks will seek you out and chase you and to try to nip you. But horses, they're pretty placid. They don't try to, so 100 duck-sized horses probably wouldn't even bother you. They just eat grass.
That's a really good point. When did you think about this, Paul? Like
all day, Tim.
Yeah.
If you're wondering what I do all day planning for the podcast, this is the kind of crap that I think about. So
this week, Paul, the 3090 was released, but we're talking about the video card, the 3090 for those out there that are into technology as much as we are. You would know what I mean by the 3090. But we've been researching ducks and horses. And Bachelor.
We have. But the 3080 got released as well just recently, and they're potentially going to have to recall a whole bunch of them because they're crashing and they've got all sorts of problems. Do you know why that is the case? Have you looked into that?
I haven't, but I find that very hard to believe, Paul, because Phil ordered a 3080, and Phil knows everything about computers. So surely his wouldn't be recalled.
No, well, Phil would have ordered one of the good brands of graphics makers, but I won't mention any brands here, but there is a few brands that use cheap capacitors on the back of the card, which tend to overheat and cause a lot of noise. So it's been likened to, when you walk under power lines and you can hear that zhoo, zhoo, zhoo kind of noise. And NVIDIA and a few other, like Asus, Tough Gaming, and a few other good cards have used really good capacitors that sort of have less noise inside the unit. But some of the other brands cheaped out on it and put cheaper components in that have a lot of noise, and it's causing so many problems. It's causing crashes and all sorts of technical faults. I'm not sure if they can fix it without recalling them, to be honest. But imagine you've been waiting. Like me, instead of waiting, I decided to get a lesser card a few months ago. So everyone was laughing at me, but now look at them. They're going to get recalled. Then they're going to have no card. So yeah, shame on you people.
Yeah. It's a bit like me, Paul. I've got no card because I ordered a computer a couple of podcasts ago, and it still hasn't gone. Still hasn't arrived. In fact, they only shipped it today.
That was weeks ago that you ordered
it was weeks ago. So, the ironic thing is this shop is called Shopping Express. Right, I don't know about the word express. I don't know how
that refers to how quick they can take your money.
Exactly. They did. Yeah. They took the money, and they took even more than I was expecting. They had a surcharge. So
the surcharge. I cannot stand, and stay tuned for another episode where Paul's Pissed will come back talking about surcharges and minimum FPOS and all the other crap that we don't want to pay.
Yeah.
But exactly. What else, Tim?
Yeah, so with that computer, so it finally got shipped today.
Yeah, right.
And I remember you asked me today, you said, "Oh, are you happy? Are you nursing a semi?" I think that were your exact words. And I said that I'm not actually, because as happy as I am that the computer was finally shipped, I'm still a bit salty. I'm still a bit bitter. And right. The example I gave Paul was, it's like, when your partner is like, you're convinced they're cheating on you. You just got this feeling, you just know it, and you worked it out in your own head. Yep, they're definitely cheating on me. There's nothing I can do about it. There's no coming back. I am furious with your partner, and then you talk to them and realize, oh, okay, there's a legitimate reason why they weren't home or whatever, and you can see that you were wrong all along, but it's almost, you have a bit of a hangover that you're still a little bit, even though they didn't cheat, you still think that they, I don't know, you're still a bit salty. So yeah, I'm a little bit salty still, Paul, from that experience.
Yeah, look, there's nothing worse than when you spend your money on something and you're waiting for it to arrive and it doesn't come. It's once you give the money to them, which, by the way, they're very quick at taking the money out of your account, you want it on your doorstep the next day. And that's look, for a lot of good things that Australia has to offer, fast delivery times is not one of them. and fast internet is not another one. And I was watching this YouTube video, and by the way, shout out to YouTube. You can find anything. In fact, there's only one thing you can't find on YouTube, but you can find it in lots of other places. But YouTube has everything else. And I was watching this video. This guy was building a PC. I was nerding out. And he said, look, the longest thing that I had to wait for was a delivery because it took 2 days to get to me. And I was thinking, 2 days? That's... If we pay for express registered courier and it's 2 days, we're laughing. 2 days is unheard of in Australia. We need to lift our game with delivery timeframes because it's just not acceptable. But, as long as we accept it, they're going to keep doing it, aren't they? And moving on, you know what else I ordered during the week? Do you know, how's your Wi-Fi in your house, Tim? What's your Wi-Fi network like?
It's fine, yeah. It's like there's a couple rooms where it's a little bit iffy, but most of the house it's pretty fine. Yep.
So in our house, we've got a very long house, and we've got one modem at one end of the house, and then we've got everything at the other end of the house, including a Ring doorbell which uses Wi-Fi, and there's dead spots all around the house. I think when you get sent these modems from these companies, I'm pretty sure they're not sending you top of the range modems, right? Just the generic sort of crap. And I went and bought a TP-Link Deco 5, I think it's called, and it's part of the wireless mesh system, mate. It's part of the wireless mesh system. Try and say that 5 times really fast. Wi-Fi mesh, which basically takes your signal, and then you put these units around the home, and they all talk to each other, and they all create basically a big net over your house of Wi-Fi, so there's no dead spots, and it gives you the fastest speed that's possible. So your phone or your Xbox or your computer will automatically connect to whatever the fastest speed is at that time, whether it's 2.4 or 5. So previous to this installation, I was getting about 20 to 50 megabits a second, which, by the way, again, Australia needs to lift their game because that's like 64th in the world. There's third world countries with better internet than Australia. But since installing this, I'm getting upwards of 70 to 99. And in fact, yesterday I had 101 megabits per second of download speed. So small investment, but made a big difference. There's no dropouts. There's no issues. It's smooth internet. The Ring doorbell works every time. I know you've got a bit of Ethernet ports in your house, but if you ever want to improve the Wi-Fi, I definitely recommend you go the TP-Link Deco. And by the way, TP-Link, we are taking sponsors for our next episode, so hit us up at onboardfordelivery@gmail.com.
I've lost
Can you say how much wood could a woodchuck chuck, woodchuck could chuck wood, a woodchuck woodchuck, all the wood could chuck wood?
No.
I'm not even sure I said that right, but it sounded good.
Yeah. Yep.
Can you recite the periodic table of elements?
Oh, I know. No, not really. Hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, biocarbon,
boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen.
Yeah.
Lachlan Chenery, if you're watching, write in and let us know how to do it.
But I'll tell you what I can do. Spell Czechoslovakia.
Okay. You can spell Huzawaba?
Czechoslovakia.
Czechoslovakia.
Yeah. The reason I know how to spell
that reminds me of something. Yeah.
Back in grade 4, we used to do a spelling bee, and every kid in the class had a different letter of the alphabet each day. So, some kids, kid A would get the letter A, then this kid would get letter B, and so forth. And you had a week, so you could choose your word, and then the whole class, you had to say it out loud, and the whole class had to spell it on the spot. And, a lot of kids would take the easy route. So, go A, ant, but the whole class would get it right. So what I figured out, and had a mate that figured out the same thing, we thought, why don't we choose a difficult word, and then we'll learn it, and then the class will have no clue how to spell it. So the teacher actually tricked us into learning, come to think of it. But I got the letter C one week, and do you know any words starting with C? If you had to choose a word for the class to say, what word would you choose? Letter C.
Christmas.
Okay, cool. And so I got the word I had the letter C, so I said it was my turn in class, and I go, Czechoslovakia. And the class is like, whoa, man, what the hell, man? So to this day, I can remember it. So it's CZECHOSLOVAKIA. And then my mate, he got the letter Y. He said Yugoslavia. So we learned these words, and the class hated us for it, Paul. They hated us.
Well, that reminds me, Tim. Did you have to talk about this story? I vaguely remember the country Latvia. And did you get was there a message or was it a chat or what was that?
This is in the early days of the internet, or like, I was in primary school, I reckon.
Oh, right. It was that long ago.
Yeah. And it was like, I got an email from some lady from Latvia saying how much she loved me. I was like a primary school kid. And like, it was either a scam or it was, I don't know what it was, but...
It was a scam, Tim.
Yeah.
Anytime a lady sends you an email to say she loves you, it's a scam. Okay? It's a scam.
Yeah. But I think my dad was like, what's going on here? So, that was primary school. So that was my first love.
I just remember that. I just remember Latvia and Merc or ICQ or one of these chat I just remember that. I don't remember too much detail, but
yeah. Something else I remember from that era was wrestling. Yeah. And wrestling, yeah. And so a couple of weeks ago, I made the mistake of calling the wrestler Razor Ramon, and TJ wrote in angrily.
Shout out to TJ.
TJ was furious, Paul. And I don't know why we do that. Furious. So he was furious. So I corrected myself and said that, so it's not Razor Ramon, it's Razor Ramon. So, well, it turns out this week, Paul, Ryan, shout out to Ryan gave me a correction. Right, gave me a...
What did he give you?
That's not the right English. Ryan corrected me, Paul.
Okay.
That's what I meant to say.
A correction, did he?
Yeah, no, he didn't give me a correction. So Ryan, if you're watching, I think he'll agree that there was no corrections going on from either of us. It was he purely corrected me. So he said that Razor Ramon, he says, well done on the name, but he wasn't a wrestler in the 80s, as I said. He's a wrestler in the 90s. So thank you, Ryan, for that correction. Yes, I'll keep that correction in my brain for next time.
And something I was thinking about while you were talking, Tim, is for someone who claims they are a wrestling expert, a connoisseur, if you will, you've been corrected maybe 4 or 5 times on your wrestling knowledge so far from the super fans of the show. What do you attribute to this poor knowledge of wrestling?
I don't know, Paul, but I guess, I mean, we are a tech podcast after all, so, and we're available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, and all other popular podcast networks. So I'm more of a technology expert, Paul, as opposed to a wrestling expert. But we actually both went to the wrestling a couple of years ago. It doesn't seem like it was that long ago.
Yeah, no, it was. I think it was 2018. It was. Yeah, 2 years ago
at the MCG. So there was about 60,000 people, and I paid a fortune for tickets. You paid a smaller fortune for tickets. What could you see from your seat?
Well, I look. I mean, you would have had to use technology, Tim, to be able to see the ring from where you were sitting. But what I saw was atmosphere. I was pretty close, but I was on the ground, so I had a lot of people in front of me. I was probably 40 meters from the ring. But no, I saw them close up. But again, when you're on the ground and there's a lot of people in front of you and the ring wasn't really raised, I didn't see a great lot, but the atmosphere was amazing. And that was probably the best bit, was the atmosphere.
Yeah. Well, I sat about 140 meters away, but higher up, so I couldn't see a thing either. So, but yeah, and the atmosphere wasn't quite as good up there.
Yeah.
So
who'd you go to the wrestling with?
I went with Jason.
Shout
out to Jason.
Shout out to Jason.
Yeah.
So you watch the show?
He does, and I've used one of his jokes tonight, which you'll be happy with, the winning a fight by 200 meters. So thanks for that one, Jason. So that's one joke I got from Jason. The other joke is when someone goes, you look familiar. And then my response is always like, I hope you're not watching Crime Stoppers.
That's a good one. That's a good one, Jace. Well done, mate. What do you think with technology, Tim? How do you think technology... We're talking to Dave O'Neill about this in one of the previous episodes, and we're talking about how technology has changed well, especially since COVID, and you've got performers and comedians and singers and bands that are performing to people all around the world that previously would have had to fly over there in order to do a show, and now they're doing them from their homes. How do you think that technology has changed? You know, you were saying yourself, I think, that where you work switched to Zoom recently because some of the students couldn't access other programs. But how do you think that, you know, technology has changed in this situation to help, you know, certain people and different things that are happening?
Well, Zoom has been, it's good. It's definitely, it's been an experiment, I guess, hasn't it? So,
Yeah.
you know, you wouldn't have thought about using Zoom in the past for things, but it actually opens a lot of doors that would have been impossible. But the problem with Zoom as well is you become a zombie, you know, like a zombie. You're just there all
Yeah.
day in Zoom meetings, just sitting there. So I'm going to have to start doing walking meetings where you just get your phone and go for a walk. So now that the weather's good, just do a Zoom meeting while you're walking. So I think that'll be the next thing. So yeah, I reckon it's technology, I guess. Well, Australia does struggle with the technology, with our internet speeds and so forth, and delivery speeds. But it is what it is.
Well, I was actually at work today, and I was talking to a courier, one of Australia's biggest courier companies, and I was taking some things to his van, and asked him what it's like to deliver all these products to people and how do you keep track of them. And he opened his van up, and it's as if someone's just thrown boxes from everywhere, just in there with absolutely. You know, this is not helping you, Tim, waiting on your computer parts, but just threw everything in there as if it's, you know, there was a guy, like a 40-inch widescreen, super wide monitor, like those super wide ones, just on the floor, and just boxes packed all over it. It's everything. And I mean, that's one place to start, organising your vans. I know Amazon, especially in the US, so I'm not sure about Australia, they actually will pack things that are ordered in boxes. Sometimes you'll get a big box, and inside the box that's this big will be something really, really small. And the reason they do that is because they've got the whole Tetris system worked out in the van. So they know that when they're packing the things in the van, that this box will fit perfectly there, this box, so everything just fits perfectly. In Australia, we just throw crap in there and hope for the best. But Amazon have worked it out over in the US. I'm not sure about Australia, but definitely over there they've got that worked out.
I'm picturing with Australia, you know that scene in Dumb and Dumber, at the very start.
Yeah.
He's got the what's it called? The shag and wagon. What's
That
dog? And they're going over like the big sort of jumps, and there's a couple of dogs in the back with like mustard and sauce going everywhere and having the time of their life. I'm sort of picturing that. That's Australian delivery.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because speaking of Jim Carrey, wasn't he a delivery driver or something in one of the Ace Ventura movies? And he had to deliver a box, and it was just like he's just shaking it and smashing it, and it was just full of glass, and then he just like threw it at someone, and she opened it, was broken. That's what it feels like.
Yep.
They just don't care.
I swear they use our boxes for target practice.
You just want someone, like when I order something online, I expect them to gently pick it up and give it a bit of a cuddle and talk to it so it's not lonely, and just, place it on my doorstep. The other day, this delivery driver, he just put this massive box at our doorstep. And by the way, on the order, I said no authority to leave, and they put it smack bang for the whole world. I had to call my neighbour to get them to come and pick it up so that it wasn't going to be stolen from someone. But yeah, I think Australia has a long way to go when it comes to technology. As much as, people growing up think that technology is rampant in Australia, you don't realise until you go overseas just how behind we are with everything. Internet, delivery times, even products. I went to Thailand once. It's 2007, so 13 years ago. And there was things that I saw there that I still haven't seen in Australia that you can buy over there. It's just we've got a long way to go here.
Yeah, some of those things in Thailand you wouldn't want to buy here, Paul, if you know what I mean. And you were there with Mum, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, if you want to go to Thailand, I recommend not going with your mother, But it is what it is. I remember someone chased me down the street once with a catalogue with all these pictures of, well, women inside, and he's like, come on, good girl, whatever. And I'm like, this is my mum. And he's like, yeah, you can come too. I'm like, no, what are you doing?
Yeah,
This is a tech podcast, and we are looking for sponsorship. So Thailand, if you're watching, onboardfordelivery@gmail.com.
Yeah, I like that, Paul. It's like, I don't need these women. I've got my mum. Yeah, that makes perfect sense, Paul.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, on that note, what's new? What's planned for technology in the next week?
Well, I mean, I'm looking forward to you getting your computer, so you can get it built and get it up and running, and the monitor. You've got this really good monitor just sitting there, doing nothing, just looking good, you know. And actually, one question about this, Tim. Would you rather? Is it the fact that you haven't got your PC up and running, or is it the fact if you had have received it a week ago, but hadn't got around to building it yet? Is it as big of a problem, or is it more the fact that you haven't actually got it yet that's a problem?
It's definitely better to have it in your possession, Paul.
Yeah.
You've got the power, you've got the control. You can, it's when you don't have control that's the scary bit. You know, the product is in another state. You don't know when it's going to get to you. You don't know if they've missed out like one of the products, and you have to write back to them and say, please send me another one, and then wait for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely having it in your possession. At least you can look at the boxes and so forth.
Yeah.
That's part of the fun.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm looking forward to. So I'm actually living vicariously through you. I'm excited for you and the new computer and the monitor and the keyboard and mouse, and just, you know, 8 years you haven't had a PC. And for those that have PCs now that have had them for a long time, the honeymoon period wears off. But when you're coming from a Mac, a PC just feels like a different world because you're not used to it. I'm looking forward to that. That's what I've got planned for the week.
Yeah, and for myself, thanks for asking, Paul. I'm planning to do some more real estate videography. I'm doing a house this weekend.
You're doing a house?
Yeah, I'm doing a house. So that'll be my second house. So I'm looking forward to doing that. So I'm learning it as I go, and it's so it's a bit of fun. So I'll do that. So I'll use my 9mm and I'm trying to decide whether I go the 16 or the 30mm. There's no joke there, folks. We've done that joke too many times, and it's too dangerous to do that joke.
You're saying that you pulled the 30mm out today, and you were just shocked at how zoomed in it was. You're so used to using this super wide angle that you were just so shocked at how zoomed in the 30mm was.
Yeah, I thought something was wrong.
Yeah,
I'm like, what's going on here? It's like zoomed in. Have I got a setting wrong? But yeah, that's how it looks. I just haven't used it for so long. So yeah, that's my plan for the week.
Sounds good, Tim.
Yeah. We'll edit this bit out.
Oh, I hurt my back.
So
Tim.
Yep.
Tim, you're getting a computer, and we'll end it on this note. You're getting it for 4K editing and just the general computer use, but you are hopefully going to play some games. Have you got an idea of what sort of games, you know, what's the first game you're going to look up or search for or Google or YouTube before you buy it? What would be the first thing you'd look up?
I think Flight Sim, Microsoft Flight Sim 2020. That's the one to get. I'm probably going to get the Xbox PC Game Pass, whatever it's called.
That's good value.
So I'll probably get that. It's gone up in price, Microsoft. So but so I'll probably get that, and maybe a real-time strategy. I did see Age of Empires 3 Destinations. Is that right? Definitive.
Definitive edition.
Definitive. Yeah. This is. Yeah. You come to us, folks, for the detailed technology information,
which I think is just a fancy way of saying remastered. I think.
Yeah. I love the Destinations. So. Yeah, so I'll probably watch, go for Age of Empires 3 Destinations, I would say. And anyway, yeah, that's those are the games I'll look at first.
Yeah, Flight Sim's great. We'll talk about Flight Sim more on the next episode or a previous episode. We may have spoken about it. I've got some things to talk to you about, some stuff that I bought during the week to use with Flight Sim. So stay tuned for that.
Cool. And so on that note, folks, it's good night from On Board for Delivery. Good night. That's a wrap.
I did that just to annoy you.